Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. You have quite the amazing story and to see what you've made of your life, it's very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
How does it feel for you? If you don't mind, we're just going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
I know for myself, with my recovery journey and all the people that I help, I feel like we're almost better off because of the adversity that we've experienced and having to overcome that and then learning life's lessons and all the things that go with that. Do you also agree with that as far as
Um,
for yourself?
I know for me, I definitely understand overcoming.
Yeah.
I mean, with me having been in the military and a lot of the things that they put you through, as far as like, boot camp and all your schooling that you go through, a lot of that stuff is tests to see if you can handle the strenuous side because it only gets worse. When you go to the deployed environment, it doesn't get easier, you
Yeah.
know. So they want to make sure that you can even handle this environment. And
Yeah.
so when I overcame the boot camp side of it, I said, okay, well, if I can do that, I'm pretty sure I can handle the other things that are coming,
Yeah.
and I'll be able to adapt if not and adjust. And so that mindset helped me with the accident mindset when I had to overcome as well in that. So luckily there was no separation. I was still in the military at the time of my accident.
Yeah.
So that actually helped with the recovery side of it
Hmm.
because my mindset was definitely, tested for sure.
Yeah.
I did go through my phases of depression and suicidal thoughts, but uh, thankfully I had people I could talk to and not just deal with that internally because I believe when you internalize those things, that's what makes it worse.
Absolutely.
Um,
You
and
got to
that's what
process
makes
that.
and that's what makes people want to act on it, you
Mm.
know, when you continue to internalize.
Hmm.
So luckily I was able to get it out, and speak to someone about it. That someone would actually be my uncle. Yeah.
Mm.
He's a senior pastor at his church. So he not only spoke to me in that manner, the faith manner, but he spoke to me as a human. And he said the profound words that I say, he said to me, and I speak about this in my book, Don't Focus on Why Me. He said, Key, so Kijuan is my name, but he called a lot of people call me Key or Kiwi. He says, Key, I'm surprised it took you this long.
Mm.
And I was like, what do you mean by that? You know, he was like, honestly, dude, I thought this would have came about a long time ago when you were still in that hospital. And here
Mm.
you are months later, and it's just now happening.
Wow. But
You
in the
know,
big scheme of thing, a couple months is not that long of a time considering what you went through.
well, the mindset that he was coming from, or point of view, shall I say, was that he thought as soon as I opened my eyes, I'll be ready to get rid of this
Yeah.
life that I'm living.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't see as soon as I opened my eyes. There was no gradual eyesight loss. There was no gradual uh, uh, sight loss. This was
Yeah.
all instantaneous. As
Wow.
soon as I woke up, I couldn't see. As soon as I woke up, I could no longer smell.
Wow.
These types of things. And so I woke up different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what he was referring to when he
Yeah.
said it.
Do you feel like due to the injuries, it's helped you fine tune the other senses that you have? Like they've almost become superpowers because of the loss of those? Or did it take some time to sort of refocus and readjust and put your attention in those places?
I'm sure you noticed me starting to smile,
Yeah, I
but
do.
as soon as you said superpower, that's
Yeah.
something I use a lot. And the reason I say that is because since I lost my eyesight, it's a superpower to me because I'm a keynote speaker.
Hmm.
I speak in front of thousands of people.
Wow.
That can be intimidating when you're standing in front of a stage and there's a bunch of people looking back at you.
Yeah. Oh,
But my
yeah.
superpower is I can't see them. So
Well, it's a
everybody who
blessing.
so everybody that's looking back at me looks like how I envision you.
Yeah.
It could be a room full of prisoners. I wouldn't
Yeah.
care. You don't look
Yeah.
like a prisoner to me. You're the nicest prisoner I ever met.
Yeah. Nice.
You know,
Nice.
so it's that type of mindset and you know, things that I put myself in. I mean, I was standing there in front of 1,500 people, probably over that, and I didn't even realize it. I thought it was just that front row.
Yeah. You just
I
didn't
had
know,
no,
or
I had,
you weren't even told? Yeah.
well, first off, I had no clue how many people were there.
Okay.
So, but when I'm speaking, I don't speak uh to actually think of how many people are in this room.
Yeah.
My thought process is to speak for clarity, to speak for getting the message across, to speak to the individuals that need this.
Yeah.
It's not to say I need to make sure every last one is okay. So is it 1,563? Okay, I need to make sure 1,563 people get it. No, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm not even looking for that. I'm looking for the one, the two, maybe the three that might grab this.
Yep.
You know, so that's how I view things when I'm on stage. Don't get me wrong, I love everybody who comes to hear me speak. So it's not saying that I want to be in a small room. Not
That's
even
right.
by
You were meant
chance.
for big stages.
Hey, listen, if I can pack out a stadium, I will do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And then you lean into that superpower, you
Yeah.
picture everybody's just kittens,
Oh
or
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
little things like
yeah.
that makes it easier to
Co-
confront. I know when I'm speaking in front of people, I just almost get like a glazed over where not I don't pick individuals. I just sort of glaze the whole room, soften my glaze. But I really do believe like, speaking as if each person is hearing you individually is very empowering. And I'm sure your people that approach you afterwards tell you that.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because after I speak, people come up to me, they're like, "Man, when you said this," and they quote exactly what I said. I'm like, "Man, I didn't even know I said that,"
Yeah.
because you know, so many people literally write word for word their
Yep.
speeches. I don't do that.
Yep.
That's not the approach I take. I take key points and then I do the rest. I will lead out with a key point, and where we go from there, let's fly this jet plane
Heck
because
yeah.
that's where we're going. We're taking off.
I
And
love
when they come to me after the show, they're like, "Oh man, when you said this, it really hit home." I said, "Well, I'm glad you remember." Because
it.
I'll watch it on the recording. You know, that kind of thing. And this is why I love doing what I do because of the simple fact that I do it naturally.
Yep.
I don't want it to be so scripted that anybody can pick up on what I'm about to say. You know how you could say, uh, for example, when you go to churches, especially in the communities that I go to for churches, they say God is good, and the rest of the congregation can say all the time. And then when
Mm.
they say all the time, they'll say God is good. I don't want you to know that
Yeah.
about me. You know what I mean? I don't want you
Yes.
to know how to completely finish my sentence. I don't want that to happen. 'Cause then it's gonna
Mm.
be, oh, well, these are cookie cutter scripts he's doing or
Yep.
speeches he's doing. No, no, I don't want it to be that. I want it to be tailored to you.
I love that. And I operate exactly the same way. And for the most part, I love it. But then sometimes I'm like, oh man, I really meant to say this or didn't say that. But I feel, and again, I'm going to tap into your superpower. I know, like for me, sometimes, and this isn't coming from any kind of arrogant space, but I'll do the same thing. I'll speak and people say something, and I'm like, I don't remember saying that. And so the only thing I can come to is God speaking through us,
Yes,
Spirit
yes,
speaking through us to the
yes.
point where it almost is like, step aside and let me handle this. And it's not anything I wouldn't say, I don't believe, I don't have those same thoughts for, but it happens. It happens to me. And I love hearing you say that. And I can only imagine for you, it's even more prominent because you can really sense the energies and tailor whatever you need to say to whoever needs to say because you're super in tune with the energies of the room or what people might be going through.
Mhm. Well, I'm glad you said that because before I ever step on a stage or deliver a keynote, I pray.
Mm,
I always pray. The reason I do that is because sometimes I do get anxious. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been doing this since 2019. That doesn't mean you can't get a little nervous,
sure.
because you don't know what room you're walking into or who's going to say something to you. So my thought process is to say, Lord, I don't want them to see me. I want them to hear you.
Mm,
Now, hear what I said. I don't want them to see me. I want them to hear you. And so that means using my mouthpiece.
yep.
And so I want him to use me as a mouthpiece that is going to give them what they need. Not what they want, what they need. Because when you, as the quote goes, people forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they won't forget how you made them feel. And that's what I want them to do. I want them to feel something when I get off that stage. So yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. And I'm sure you move people for that. And also, I love it because it's like, why would somebody not want to come see you multiple times? They're not going to hear the same speech. They're not going to know
No.
what you're going to say. Although we all love familiarity and all that kind of stuff. I like the magic of you're going to get something different every single time.
No. You know, the only time you're gonna hear the same thing over and over is if you're asking me specifically to tell my
Mhm,
story. Like,
mhm.
what happened to me? That's the only thing that I have to tell the exact same way because
Yeah.
that's how it happened, and
Yeah.
that's what happened. When it comes to the facts, okay, I got to tell you that.
Yeah.
I can't fabricate that. So I have to tell you how my accident happened, but along the way, if you ask me a question outside of it, you're getting something new.
Yeah. I
So
love.
yeah.
So what, okay, I'm going to back us up just a little bit because I want to find out, I want to know how you got to this place. Did you always want to go in the military? Was that just like your path from being a child? Like, this is what I'm going to do?
Well, if you go back to my kindergarten years, yes,
Okay.
it was either the NFL
Mm.
or military. I honestly wrote down Army. I thank God I didn't. I mean, that was just all I knew as a 5-year old
Sure. Yeah, your
was
little army
Army.
man. Like,
I
yeah.
didn't know the other branches yet.
Mm.
And so that's all that you usually saw on TV was the advertisement for the Army, you
Yeah.
know, be all you can be. And so uh that's what I wrote. I wrote on my when you know how they do give you an assignment, write down what you want to be when you grow up,
Mm-hmm.
NFL player
Mm-hmm.
or in the arm or in the military, which was I put army, and then I said family with a
Mm.
wife, and I think I had 2 or 3 children or something like that, and a mansion. Like that's all I cared about. You know, and so um I played football. Yes, I did. I did not make it to the NFL level. I made it semi-professional, but not NFL.
What position did you play?
What didn't I play?
Ah,
That's the real question.
nice.
The I think I was better at defense.
I was thinking
Personally,
safety as you were talking. I was thinking safety.
that's actually what I played.
Yeah.
That was the last position I played was safety. Strong. I was a strong safety for my semi-professional team, the Bull City Saints,
Oh, wow.
and we had the number one defense in the league.
Wow.
The
Amazing.
number one, I can say that with a whole heart
Yeah.
because we had all the stats. We were pitching shutouts and everything.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, so uh
I love
when
football. I'm a huge football fan. I'm
yeah,
all for it.
yeah.
Wait,
I'm
so what's
glad
your
you
favorite team?
so I'm homegrown. I'm from
Okay.
North Carolina, so I'm homegrown. I was born in the 90s and so was the Carolina Panthers. So I just
Yeah.
stuck with
Yep.
them.
Nice.
Mostly everybody else who is in North Carolina before the Panthers were established are either Cowboys, Giants, or at that time Redskin fans.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the mix. You got those three
Yeah.
before the Carolina Panthers were birthed or established here in Carolina.
Yeah.
Um, so I literally have that all around my family, and I'm like, you guys, yeah.
Three of
At
my
least,
not favorite teams. No, I'm
well,
kidding.
well, at least the
Well, I'm not
Commanders are
kidding.
coming up. You know, at least the
Yeah,
Commanders are
they look
coming up now.
great. I am a
Yeah,
huge what is their quarterback? He was on my fantasy team
Jaden
last year.
Daniels.
Love him. Love him.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that guy, when I tell you he broke free, like it's
Yeah.
like he was trying to find a way for people to tell him what not to do. Like
Yep.
he
Yep.
was doing
Some of us
everything to,
operate better that way.
yeah, he was defying all the odds. Even when
Yeah.
he got injured, he was like, I don't care, let me go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, really
Yeah.
good, really good. And like I say, you know, I made it to the semi-professional level, but what I originally wanted to do out of high school was go to college
Mm-hmm.
for engineering. It was going to be either computer or software. So it was going to be computer engineering or software engineering. And like I said, I'm here in North Carolina. So the two best schools for that are North Carolina State University and North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State University, which we shorten and say North Carolina A&T here.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the two best schools. I applied. I don't remember if I applied to NC State or not, but I do know that I did get a response from A&T. And when I called them to go to the school, they had no recollection or information on me whatsoever.
Whoa.
And I'm looking at the letter that I called them from.
Yeah.
Like it's in my hand. That's
Yeah.
how I called you.
Yeah.
Your stamp of approval and your seal is right here.
Yeah.
I didn't mail it to myself.
Yeah.
So somebody must be posing as y'all. I don't know. I don't know.
How
But
do you take that? Do you at the time think maybe this is a sign from God? I'm supposed to do something else?
no, what I did is I just pivot. I move on. I
Yeah.
You see when you gripe and harp on stuff for too long, it gets sour, it gets spoiled.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
keep moving. I like to keep things fresh.
Yeah.
I gotta go. And like I told you, you know, I had already written about, you know, military. That listen, that right there is the easiest door you can kick in.
Mm.
Especially with my background. My background, physical fitness, high.
Yep.
My aptitude, high.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, anything you could think of that they wanted, it was high.
Yeah.
They
Hopefully
when
not
they
concussions.
none, zero. I had
Because I know
zero.
how that football career is, even high
But
school, college. Yeah.
see, I wasn't the most physical when it came to hitting. I was the smart guy.
Hmm.
I'm gonna outthink you. You can do whatever you want. I promise you, you're not gonna outthink me on that field.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
that's how I approached the game. My coaches, they were amazing. And when it came to film study, they taught us how to think.
Yeah.
And so I applied it. Well, when he lines up like this, that means he's probably going to do this. And I'm going, okay, I'll just beat him to it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did every
Yeah.
time. You know, so anywho, I don't want to get too far on that because I'll go on a tangent.
Same. I mean, I love football and I'm
Yeah.
missing it right now. So I'm like, yeah, let's talk football. But yes, you're right.
Listen,
We have a
listen,
much bigger story here.
I will go on a tangent, okay? Because I literally, when I played semi-pro and I was in the Air Force Reserves, flew
Mm,
back from England. I was in England for 2 weeks in the middle of our season.
mm.
Flew back from England that morning. We had a game that day.
Oh, wow.
I drove from Goldsboro, North Carolina to Durham, North Carolina, where I live, which is about an hour and 15 minutes. I probably cut it down to an hour. But it was still an hour.
You
But
were moving.
oh yeah. I had a Dodge Charger. It had a V8
Oh,
in it. I was
yeah.
going.
Nice. The good ones, the old fashioned
Yeah.
gas guzzling loud ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I got there, got to my apartment, ran upstairs, took off that flight suit, threw on my I didn't take a shower because I was finna go get dirty anyway. So
Yeah.
I put on my uniform for the football game. Did halfway dressed. I didn't put on my shoulder pads and everything. I just went halfway dressed and I was carrying my shoulder pads and my helmet in the hand and my duffel bag over my shoulder, walking on with flip-flops. And I walked out there on the field
Yeah.
and they were like, "What are you doing here?" I said, don't we have a game today? And they were like, yeah. I said, y'all at halftime. He was like, well, yeah, we get ready to go to the half. He was like, are you playing? And I was like, yeah, I'm about to get ready to stretch and everything. I'm finna put, my cleats and everything on. He said, okay, cool. Well, you gonna start the second half. I said, all
Oh,
right, I'll be ready.
right to it. Heck yeah.
I don't, and I wrote about that in my book. I don't, that is a true passion sport of mine.
Yeah.
Football was everything to me. Not only did I play it, I coached it, I mentored it, whatever. If I could be around football, I was there.
Yeah.
And so we literally used to drive 3.5 hours every Saturday, well, down and back. So that's 7 hours on one Saturday to go watch my brother play in college. We
Aw.
love football in my family.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is a true passion of ours. So, yeah. But back to what I was saying, it they didn't, have my information, so I just pivoted. I went to the Air Force, well, Navy recruiter first because I have a lot of family member that are Navy, maybe 5 or 6 that were in the Navy,
Hmm.
um, to include my youngest sister.
Oh,
She was in
wow.
the Navy. My youngest brother is currently in the Air Force. He's stationed over at seas in Europe right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my oldest brother didn't go to the military. He was the one that I told you was in college playing football. He had a full ride scholarship, so
Oh, nice.
to play football. Yeah, he not sure if you're familiar with Coastal Carolina University.
No.
Okay. But yeah, they're near Myrtle Beach
Okay.
in South Carolina. They call it the actual city that they're in is Conway, South Carolina. It's like 8 miles outside of Myrtle Beach.
Oh,
So,
nice.
but
Yeah,
anywho,
Carolinas are on my wish list. It's one of the places in the US I haven't been. It feels like I know a lot of people moving there. It's like
yeah,
up and
yeah.
coming. It seems like it has everything you could want in a place to live.
Yeah, no, everybody's moving here. The
Yeah.
city I was born and raised in, looks nothing like what it was when I was born there.
Mm. It's
And I'm only
yeah, boomed.
33, okay? It's not like it's been a whole I'm not like 50 or something. So this place is growing like wildfire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anywho, I went to talk to the Navy recruiter first because my family was mostly Navy and they had been, oh, my stepdad, he was also Navy, and they had been telling me all about it.
Yeah.
And, hey man, you're not gonna, you'll have a good time, get to see the world, do the travel, do all that. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I just don't know if I want to be on a boat.
Yep. Yep.
That was me. Hey, it has nothing to do with the water.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the water whatsoever. I just don't want to be on a boat.
Yeah.
See, a plane, I can fly over across that ocean in about 6 to 7 hours. A boat, it takes a little bit longer. They don't go that fast.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
not.
catching a theme here. It seems like fast is a part of everything that is your
Yep.
passion, and I
I
get
think.
that. I'm
I
the
think
same
you
way.
get it. I think you get it. I think you get. I played football. I ran track.
Yep, yep.
I had a
You got a
Dodge
Dodge
Charger.
Charger,
I
like
had a
all the things.
motorcycle.
Yep.
I loved airplanes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I'm the one who wants to go fast. Okay,
yeah.
so I just knew that that wasn't my lifestyle. And then the Navy recruiter, he taught me how to go into the Navy.
Mm,
You want to know how? Because I was trying to figure out how to get my schooling paid for. I just told
mm,
you I wanted to go to school.
yep.
So my whole goal was to see, well, I read about this thing called the GI Bill y'all have in the
Hmm.
military. How does that work? He's like, oh yeah. So he pulls up a pamphlet or grabs a pamphlet and opens it up. And I said, this is the same thing I read online, man. I don't get that. I'm trying to
Yeah,
understand it. I need you to elaborate
yeah, yeah,
so that I'm not, screwed when I try to do this or whatever.
yeah,
Uh, so he kept talking about jobs in the Navy. I knew you needed a job to get into the Navy. That's not why I'm here, sir. I need to understand this GI Bill thing. And then
yeah,
we could talk jobs after that. Because if you're not the right branch for me, what's the point in talking about jobs?
yeah. Good for you.
And so he wasted my time for about an hour. And so I left his office by telling a lie. I pulled my phone out and said, oh, shoot, I got to go pick up my sister. I forgot. And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, just take this pamphlet and here's my number, and you can go ahead. We'll talk later." I said, "All right, talk to you later." So
Yep.
the closest trash can,
Done.
dropped it in.
Yep.
You're not gonna see me again, buddy.
Yeah.
I went out of his office, made a left, made a right, and went right into the Air Force office. Didn't even leave the building.
Mm.
Didn't even leave the building.
Nice.
Same day. When what I tell you, I pivot.
Yep.
I don't stop
Yep.
because it gets stale if you wait.
Yep.
And so went right into the office. On the wall, as soon as you walked in, it said Community College of the Air Force. I said, huh, well, that's a sign.
Yeah.
Cause I ain't see that in the Navy office.
Yeah.
And so I walk in and I made a right, and there stood both of the Air Force recruiters.
Mm.
And they were standing there talking to each other. And then they both look at me, and I'm just standing there kind of like, and they're like, "Can we help you?" I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, I think I want to join the Air Force." I'm just a little 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
want to join the Air Force. I'm by myself. My mom not with me, dad not with me, nobody. It's just me.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I want to join the Air Force. He's like, oh, come on in my office. And there was
Nice.
so much, it was so different, like the vibe, they were welcoming. It was more warm of an environment. It wasn't just like, hey, come on in here, let's talk to you.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
wasn't like a
it,
job interview. They were like,
exactly.
this is a career. Let's talk.
Yeah, like, and I felt like, other branches feel like they got to fill a quota, and the Air
Yep.
Force is like, we need to see if you qualify.
Mm.
There's a difference.
Challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, so they definitely found out quickly that I qualified.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So then you joined,
yeah,
and was it everything you had hoped it would be?
and then
Harder?
some,
Yeah.
and then some. I so uh to me the hardest part, I don't even think it was boot camp. The hardest part to me was going through my schooling,
Mm.
like learning my job, which was in-flight refueling. So
Mm.
that's where you refuel planes in midair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
just think about that for a second. I just want you to go off into the wild blue yonder. Okay, that's
That's
what we
like
call it
life or
in
death
the Air
right
Force.
there.
That's what we call it in the Air Force. Go off into the wild blue yonder, and I need you just to vision that there's a plane in the sky waiting for you, and it has gas for you, and you're coming up to this plane to receive the gas that it has for you. Because that was the plane I was in, the
Yeah.
plane that was giving the gas. And
Okay.
so it was
Okay.
so amazing. And what I call it is a flying gas station, basically.
Yeah.
If you think about it in that manner, um, we were able to refuel pretty much I'm pretty sure every single Air Force aircraft, if not, if it wasn't like a helicopter or something. We can't
Yeah.
refuel those because they're too slow. But all the planes, oh, we could refuel all of those. The bombers, the fighters, the reconnaissance planes, the cargo planes, everything, everything. So, you know,
So would they stay stationary and you would line up with them, or did you stay stationary and they'd have to line up with you?
so we're basically what we call flying in a racetrack.
Okay.
So that's like in a circle, basically.
Yeah.
Not turning the whole time, but you're going. It's usually, I think, 60-mile legs.
Wow.
Is it 60? It's either 30 or 60 miles. You're going straight one way, and then you turn into no more than 15 degrees of bank, and you make your turn around, and then you go back down that same line,
Mm.
and then you do that same turn and
Hmm.
come back around until they're done refueling.
Oh, wow.
Um, and so what happens is we stay on that track, and the computers of the airplanes stay on this track. Now,
Uh,
what it is, the pilot has to monitor it, of course,
yeah.
because there's so much going on in the air. You got the plane behind you that could potentially, what we call, create a bow wave effect.
Mm.
And what that means is the air that's going over top of that plane could push up into your airflow and push your tail up. So
Mm.
you basically flying with your nose down because this plane is under you.
Yeah.
And now if the autopilot detects too much of that, it'll kick off because it
Oh,
can't control, it can't hold on anymore. And now it's like, oh shoot, I got to grab the airplane.
right. Because you're pointed straight down. So you're going straight
That
down.
means if you're going straight down, that means you're going into their path
Oh, shoot.
because they're below us.
Oh,
So
right.
you want to grab the plane and pull it back up so that you don't go down into their path.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it's when I tell you
yeah.
there have been some roller coaster rides.
I bet. I bet.
I've had to literally, so I'm flying the what we call the boom that I have to align with the other aircraft and give them the gas and stuff and make contact. I'm flying that with my right hand. But if something goes wrong to where that I can feel like it almost like you feel your chest like
Mm.
doing one of those numbers, it just kind of caves in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That means the autopilot is probably about to kick off. And so when
That
I
like a
feel
G
that,
force going into effect, sort of?
basically, so when
Yeah.
I feel that, my hands are on two different controls at the time,
Mhm.
one down low and one up high. And then when I feel that, I remove my left hand and I grab the seat that's
Mm.
underneath my chest because I'm laying on my stomach.
Wow.
We call it laying on your stomach and passing gas.
Wow.
and so and so I grabbed the chair underneath because I just know it's about to happen. And
Yeah.
as soon as that autopilot kicks off, you better be holding on.
Mm.
Otherwise, you're gonna hit that little thing that's above you,
Yeah.
which is basically the floor, the actual floor of the aircraft, because you
Wow.
go underneath the floor to get down there to do the refueling.
Dang.
Oh
And I
yeah.
imagine you could like knock yourself out if there was enough force and you hitting your head.
Well, yeah, if it's enough. If it's
Yeah.
enough G-force, yeah, you're darn right. You talking about hitting the back of your head? That's the quickest way to get a concussion.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
at the back of your head.
Mm.
I knew that from football.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, it never happened to me, but I knew if you hit somebody's head against that turf hard enough, they're out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. I mean, and now more and more getting exposed how it's probably a lot more severe than we ever knew. I feel like we've taken a lot of precautions in the last few years, but still, like seeing the damage of the brains of people who've had a lot of CTEs, it's pretty crazy.
did you watch that movie Concussion?
No,
The
no.
one
I,
with
I
Will
was afraid
Smith?
it was going to ruin it for me for football.
It won't ruin it. It'll just enlighten you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll tell you what they were not revealing.
Mm.
So how they're revealing stuff now, they
Yep.
were hiding all of it.
Yep.
And these NFL players are trying to come out about it,
Yep.
but nobody was there. Now that they got these player associations, I'm so happy for them
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
before they were able to have those player associations, that's how they were able to hide all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the team doctors would be like, "Oh no, you're fine, go ahead," because the product was to have these people on the field.
Yeah.
That's the product.
Yep. That's what people
If
are
they're
paying
not
to
on the
see.
field, nobody
Yep.
wants to come.
Yep.
So yeah, man, and it was focused and based off of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That
And
doctor
Big
who
Ben Roethlisberger.
no, this is well before him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was back with who I can't remember that guy's name.
Lynn
he was a
Swan, Terry
lineman. He was a
Bradshaw.
lineman.
Okay.
He played center. And anyway, I think this might have been back in the Terry Bradshaw era.
Yep. Yep.
So anyway, the doctor that Will Smith was portraying in that movie,
Mm,
which was an African doctor, he was the one trying to call it out.
mm.
They sued him.
Yeah. They're like, this is bad for business. Shut up.
Yeah. They say either you go away or we'll make you go away.
Dang.
And he was paying with his own money every time one of these NFL or former NFL players would die. He was paying out of his own pocket to do their autopsies
Wow.
because they wouldn't approve it
Yep.
for it to get paid for. And he's like, it was a guy that was over that lab, the guy who was over the lab, not the doctor that Will Smith portrayed. But he said, I don't know what you're digging for, but they want you to stop.
Yep.
And even that guy lost his job, but he was like, I will lose my job for you if you really believe in this.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
thank God,
it's a
because
really
they
good
changed
movie.
everything.
It's a
That
really
changed
good
everything.
movie. Yes,
I gotta
because
watch that now
I
for
think
sure.
so. I
Yeah.
think you should.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
Yeah,
It
I
was
really like it now. Like when I'm watching football and they'll look, they're in the booth. They're
mhm,
specifically looking for like disorientation, and if a quarterback or anybody stands up and they're just a little woozy, they time out it and pull them off. And I love seeing that because you think about prior to this, like especially back then, where it's like get back in there, and they're
mhm,
like seeing double and they can't see and they don't know what's going on. And you're
yeah,
right, the amount of travesty that happened as results from these concussions.
yeah.
It's horrific.
And they also show like l- real clips
Mm,
from the NFL in that movie. They show real clips that used to pow like people hitting
yep.
or getting hit or coming across the field
Oh,
and getting knocked out.
oh,
They show the
I
real
hate
clips.
hearing that, boy. I hear it and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they show the real clips.
Oh,
Yeah, and when I tell you, he's like, "Do you know that the human mind with the hummingbird or not the woodpecker, when
mm,
it is hammering against a tree, the tongue goes through the back and around the brain and wraps it up. We cannot do that." He
oh,
said, it's like our brain is sitting in, and he put something in a jar and
yeah.
he just shook it. He
Oh,
said, that is what our brain does every time when
yeah.
we hit each other. And he just kept shaking that jar and kept
Mm,
shaking it. He's
mm,
like, it doesn't, there's nothing holding that in place.
mhm.
Nothing holds your brain in place from hitting up against your skull.
Yeah.
It's free floating.
Yep.
And so, boy, when I tell you he broke that thing down, oh, it's
Yeah.
so you have to watch it.
Well, and here's what sucks about it is it took something like what happened with Aaron Hernandez to
Yeah,
make people actually pay attention and go, wait, maybe, and not to excuse his behavior. There is no excuse for that, but to finally be so egregious that they couldn't not look into possibly what was behind this.
it's I think that's in there.
Yeah, the Aaron, yeah,
When you say his name, I think it's in that movie.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised because his was one of the brains they autopsied, and they're like, it's like Swiss cheese from the amount of hits that that guy got or took
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he was on defense, right? And like he was hitting
He was
people, and
on he was an offensive tight end,
oh, he
but
was a tight end. That's
he
right.
used to
Yeah,
take a lot of hits.
a lot of hits,
And
like Gronk.
he was okay
Yeah,
with like trying to run people over. That's
yeah,
the part that really messes when you lower that head.
yeah.
They're gonna come for the if you hitting with the crown of your head, that's the worst spot.
Yep. Oof. Yeah.
So yeah.
Oop. Well, luckily, you didn't get a concussion. I didn't get a
Yeah.
concussion.
Well, I got one from that motorcycle accident.
Well, yeah, yeah, not from football though.
Listen, I got completely knocked out. But
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I did my best to stay away from that. You know, the coaches try to push you to be more aggressive. I said, hey, listen, if I'm not hitting hard enough for y'all, I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm just not finna put my life on the line
yeah,
because y'all
yeah.
don't pay me enough. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, you don't pay me at all.
No, I'm paying to be part of this. Wait.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, when my son he did football his whole life. I mean, whole life up through high school, but when he was like I'm not good enough for college and I don't have a desire, I was grateful because you just see especially that's your kid. You don't want them hurting their brains that way. And
mm,
yeah, so I wasn't disappointed at all. Although I
yeah,
still love football and every Sunday that's what I'm doing.
yeah. My friend, his son wants to play football and he loves watching it. And he's like, "Yeah, I want to play this position. I want to play quarterback, and I want to play this." He's like, his dad is just like, "Yeah, he's not gonna play." I was like, "Why are you gonna do him like that?" He said, "No, I don't
Yeah,
want him getting hurt. As far as like he's thinking more mental wise. He don't care about the body.
yeah,
It's like mental. You can get a lot of surgeries and stuff for your body. That brain is one. It's only
yep,
one of those."
yep.
And so he was like, "No. I mean, if he wants to play baseball or whatever, like, because my friend he played baseball. He
Mm,
actually went into the majors where he tore his rotator cuff.
mm. Oh,
And so he's like, "Hey, you want to play baseball or something like that? That's fine."
yeah.
But you know, I want to. Hey, I'll let him play flag,
Yep.
but I won't let him play contact.
Yeah. Well, and that's also really good. And I made that choice too when my son was younger because they had the pee-wee football, which was like
Hmm.
they're just tackling each other with pads on. And then there was flag. And I always went like, they're gonna learn. And I talked to a high school coach, and he's like, look, we know and can tell who grew up with flag because they understand the game. They
Hmm.
understand like positions and formations and all that.
Yep.
They get the whatever of the game. Whereas the ones that grew up with tackle, that's pretty much what they knew. And again, thinking about like the brain forming and those formative years, and they're putting them in tackle at such young ages, even
Yeah.
with those helmets. That's a young age to be exposing their brains in that soft spot on the front of their
Yeah.
skull.
Soft tissue.
Not worth it. So for me, it was like flag all the way up until high school, and then there was 4 years of that. But I felt like his brain was pretty formed by then, so I felt okay about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Plus now they have those helmets that are so much better and they're replacing them every year. They're not like the ones that they're using over and over and are
Oh my
outdated and
God.
barely, yeah, using.
Not just using them over and over. We had helmets when I was in high school that so they have these things on the inside of the helmet that you can inflate
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
help like absorb blows. Those things weren't even working,
Oh,
and we were using these helmets.
yeah. Yeah.
You're supposed to get either take that piece out and put a new one in, or get rid of the helmet. They
Yeah.
would just let it. Hey, here you go. They
Yeah.
would try to inflate it. It wasn't. It's okay. Just use it. We'll
Yeah.
fix it later. When is later? At the end of the year?
Yeah. Not till next season, at least.
Because you're not gonna look at it again. It's gonna be in my locker.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Dang. So you graduate high school, you decide to join the Air Force, you're learning this insane new skill and job of fueling planes midair, which sounds absolutely exhilarating in many
Yeah.
different ways.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
then where
that
do you
was
go
that
from
was so
there?
much fun. So I mean, you had the refueling, but we also
Yeah.
did cargo. So
Mm,
we had cargo loading, which is putting stuff on the plane. Passengers, we carried passengers.
mm,
We also did aero medivacs. So that's when you bring injured um, military members back home,
mm,
or even to a closer, what we call um, ally base.
mhm.
You would get them to the closest one, depending on how severe the injuries were. So
Yeah.
we did that too. I mean, I've done a lot of things with that plane.
Yeah.
Um, but my most favorite thing to do was that air refueling.
Yeah.
So much fun. And I was
Yeah.
actually an instructor. I taught it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I taught it.
Oh,
So
even
so
cooler.
I had when you teach it, that's another level. That
Yeah.
because you got to go back to school for that, by the way.
Yep.
To become an instructor, you got to go back to school. And when I say it's like 3, 4 times harder the second time around, and I'm like, man, I could have sworn I was doing this job already. Now I feel like I haven't done it because they teach you. So when you first go through boom school, they're teaching you the basics. It's literally called the basic and initial qualification course or something like that.
Yeah.
And so when you go back for instructor school, oh, it's time for you to learn the entire airplane.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Oh,
A
shoot
lot of
is right.
terminology, a lot
Oh,
of, yeah,
listen, not just
mechanics.
no, you got terminology, you have electric system,
Yeah.
hydraulic system,
Wow.
pneumatic system, uh, all of these different the engines, the fuel panel, like how all of this stuff works. I knew where everything was. The gear, like how you can manually open all of this stuff, and if we have an emergency type thing, oh my gosh. I don't want nothing to
Mhm.
do with it.
Yeah.
I was like, if I gotta do this, hey man, we just going down today. Hey, we just going down today, man. I don't want to do it. I don't want nothing to do with this.
Pack
It's
your
so many
chute.
different things. Yeah. Well, the thing is, we don't have a chutes on my plane. They
Oh,
got rid of them.
oh my God.
Yeah, they got rid of them back in the day, saying it was too much weight.
Oh my. So it's like a 10-pound thing. That's just too much.
Yeah,
God.
too much. You
Wow.
only had 4 of them on the plane, and they were, I think, 20 pounds apiece.
Wow.
Wow, that's so much weight. 80 pounds.
Yeah, you're talking about a big old tin piece of,
On,
ton of, and 80 pounds is too much.
on 80 pounds on a plane that can carry a max of 322,500 pounds.
Yeah, something doesn't seem right there.
Oh man, we would hey listen, that was just way too much weight. We can't have this. We got to get this off the plane.
Yeah.
Uh, But anywho, I digress.
Ah, it's crazy when you look back, you're like, wait, why did I go along with this? Okay.
Well, to see the thing is, it was well before I even got in
Yeah.
when they
Huh.
got rid of that stuff. That was back in I think either the 80s or the 90s is when they got rid of the shoots.
Wow.
And I was just born in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, that was well before I could say something.
Yeah.
So hey, but yeah, that was the hardest part was learning my job,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially that
In order to
instructor side
teach.
of it.
Yep.
I almost got kicked out of instructor school.
Oh.
Not because not because I did something wrong. It's because I didn't catch something that the instructor was trying to teach me.
Mm,
Yeah, no, they serious about that stuff.
that's good. Well, as they should be with no parachutes and life or death. They should be serious.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if your student does this and you don't catch it, that could cause a fire.
Yeah.
A potential fire, and that's what it was about. Not checking
Mm,
the enclosures of the auxiliary power unit that's
mhm,
on board the aircraft, and he was talking so much that we weren't paying attention, and
mm,
so asking us questions and trying to get us distracted, and we
mm,
were. Trust me, we were distracted because I did
mhm,
not pay attention to that,
mm.
and I was like, and he stopped in the middle of the aircraft, and he said, "Did I forget something?" And I said,
Shit.
"Exactly." Whenever they say that, you forgot they forgot something. And I said, let me review my notes. Um, um, and I wasn't, the instructor at the time. It was the girl who was with me.
Mhm,
So it was me and her versus like two instructors. We had two instructors. Everybody else only had one.
mm.
So now it's even harder. But anyway, it was her turn to be, in charge.
Yeah.
And so she missed it. And I'm supposed to be watching as well to see if he covered
Mm,
what he's doing or might have missed. And I'm like her lifeline. And
mm.
just imagine having a lifeline on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and my job was to pay attention. Well, I missed it too, darn it.
Oh, shoot.
We're not getting the money. We're not getting the money. So
She phoned that friend and that friend wasn't there. That friend
I
could
might
not help.
I might as well not have to answer the phone, okay? Okay, but yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep.
So you're cruising along and you're training people for this, and then what happens?
Um Now are you referring to the accident here?
Yeah. Well, because I'm assuming it's while you were still in the military doing your
Oh
thing.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was definitely still in the military. Um I became an instructor on active duty,
Okay.
but I only did active duty 4 years of my 10-year commitment.
Hmm.
I did 10 total years, 4 active and 6, for the reserves. But I would say I only did a total of 6.5 years because that's when my accident occurred
Hmm.
at my 6.5 year mark,
Okay.
which was May 5th, 2017.
Wow.
So as we record today, Monday
Yep.
of this week, so 2 days ago would have
Yeah.
been my 8 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 8 years. It's been 8 years. And that day, I actually did have to work for the reserves that weekend. Um, and I had to go in at night. So that morning, or whatever you want to call it, I went to have lunch with my girlfriend, picked her up from work in the Charger because I didn't want her to smell like a motorcycle when she went back to work. She sat in the office space, so
Yeah.
that would have been, yeah, I don't want you to smell like a bike. So I was polite and
Yeah.
considerate and drove the Charger. She loves that car. She loved it anyway, so I knew she didn't mind.
Yeah.
And we went to lunch. I think we went to Chick-fil-A, wherever, something like that.
Mm.
And took her back to work. I had told her I was going home to take a nap because that's what my intentions was to go home, take a nap, because like I said, I had to work that night.
Mhm.
Well, yours truly, as I'm laying down, wide awake,
Mm.
could not go to sleep. And I'm like, well, gosh darn it, I might as well get up and do something.
Mm.
And what I did was when I said I'm gonna go take these pictures because I had a business called Kiwi Enterprise where I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography for
Mm.
small businesses and stuff like that. So I said, let me go take these pictures that I've been meaning to do anyway. I've been meaning to do this anyway, so I need to go ahead and do it. And
Mhm.
I'll update the website over the weekend. And so that's what I did. I jumped on the bike, went and got it out of the garage, and I rode from my apartment over to the church, which was my church, or is my church, um, to take the pictures of the exterior because we had done some things to the exterior of the campus and the actual church that I wanted to update
Mm.
and take pictures of. And so I did that, no problem. But see, here's the problem. From my apartment to the church is only like 10 minutes of a bike ride.
Mhm.
Now, for any motorcyclist, you're like, 10 minutes? Hey, you ain't go nowhere. And I didn't to me. So I said,
Yeah.
I need to ride a little bit longer. Where do I want to go?
Yeah.
I had a little bit of time to kill because, like I said, I built in time for a nap. So I had time to kill. And I said, where do I go? And to me, what came to my mind was, ooh, go to the lake. I said, yeah, that's a good ride. It's about 30 minutes from the church.
Mm.
And so I go to this lake here in North Carolina called Jordan Lake.
Mhm.
For those who are familiar or for those who want to visit. And then as I get there, I had no problem. No problems getting there. And I'm sitting there in the same spot I usually sit. Now, if you ever, anybody who purchases my book, Don't Focus on Why Me, From Motorcycle Accident to Miracle, you'll see on the front cover, the background is like, trees, a dock, some water, rocks. That was where I actually went
Mm.
when I went to the lake.
Okay.
I took that picture. Remember,
Beautiful.
I said I was a photographer.
Yeah.
And I took that picture, but also on the front cover of my book, you'll see my motorcycle,
Mm.
the actual one I had the accident on.
Before or
I took
after?
no, no, that's it was before. It was
Okay.
before. So I didn't want that. Mm-mm. I don't want nobody to see that. I don't
Yeah.
even know if anybody took pictures of that. And if they did, it's probably, the people who arrived to the scene, like the
Yep.
crime scene people or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
They might have took pictures of it, but I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Nobody would give me any of that stuff. Like I asked for the helmet. They said, "Yeah, we got that." I asked for the clothes. They said, "Yeah, we got that." I asked for the shoes. Yeah, we got that. I haven't seen it yet,
Wow.
and so I'm like, "Why didn't y'all give me that?" you
Yeah.
know, I would
Yeah.
want to see it at least one or touch it once. I
And
mean,
no reason. What is your speculation on that? Is too bad?
I don't think I think they threw it away.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I honestly think they threw it away because I think it hurt them more than it would hurt me
Mm.
to see that stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what it was like for people to cut shoes off of people.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in it for the intrigue. How did they really cut this off of me? Did they slice me right down the leg? You know,
Yeah. Big old
hey,
shears. Yeah.
hey, listen, I know what I see in the movies. I want to know if it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I wanted it for.
Yeah.
That's it. And so, anywho, you know, I leave the lake because a car startled me when it went by on the highway, and that kind of brought me back because I was zoned out. You know, I do a lot of meditation, or used to anyway, when I went out there. I miss it so much because I am really right now in need of some kind of retreat
Mhm.
because there's so much going on. I need to just get away
Yeah.
and free my mind a little bit. And I pray that everybody has one of those escape routes,
Yep.
you know, so that they can just release, because that's what that was. It was one of those moments I could release and just relax,
Yeah.
be by myself. And so, anywho,
Mm.
the car startles me. I was like, oh shoot, what time is it? I looked down at my watch because in the military, I kept a watch on me.
Yeah.
They are sticklers for time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're
So
not relying on your phone to tell you shit.
I made sure I don't even want to dig that far. I want to be right here.
Yeah.
Quick,
Yeah.
a quick look down. Okay, that's all I want to do. Look at
Yeah.
the wrist. And so uh, I went and jumped on my bike, and I got back on that highway. And for those who, look at the cover of my book, you'll see those tall trees that we have here in North Carolina. They're very beautiful.
Mm.
Um, they're not like red oaks or anything, or redwood, whatever it's called, but
Mhm.
they are very beautiful. They're tall, just tall and green.
Mhm.
Um, until the winter comes.
Huh.
And but anyway, I'm riding down this highway 751, and it's a back road. So it's only two lanes. The lane that I'm in and the lane that's coming past me. Now, as you're on this road, the only time these trees are like cut back or pushed back, shall I say, um, are during intersections, a driveway, because people live on this road,
Mm.
this highway. They live off of it. There's this really sketchy BP gas station. Like you should only stop there as a last resort. Like you make sure the gas lights on. That's what I mean.
Yeah. And gas is
That's the
like
only
10 bucks
reason.
a gallon. Yeah.
No, no, not even that. It's like it's literally like really small. I mean teeny tiny. And it never looked
Gotcha.
like anybody's in there.
Yeah.
Like one of those.
Yeah.
And so and then the other thing was like a produce farm.
Mm.
So the speed limit back here is 55. 55 miles an hour on this two-lane road now. Uh I can understand why the trees are cut back, because, like I say, if you're trying to pull out from a driveway or an intersection, and say one of those trucks that just loaded all this produce on it is now come barreling down the street at 55, 60 miles an hour.
Mhm.
You pull out in front of it, you're going with it.
Yeah.
There's no, uh-oh, let me back up. See ya.
Yeah.
And that's probably the end of your life.
Mm.
Because my great uncle, God rest his soul, he owned his own trucking company, and he says those things when they're fully loaded can be anywhere from like 80,000 pounds
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
going down the road. There's no breaking that,
Nope.
and
18
so
wheels.
yeah, yeah, and so I'm doing 55 on my bike, maybe 60 somewhere around there, but from the police report it says 55, so that's what I'm going with,
Yeah.
and this silver Honda Accord at an intersection pulls out in front of me. How? Why? I don't know. Um, all I know is I ended up in the hospital,
Mm.
uh, and because I don't remember anything from it. I do
No?
not remember anything from that accident,
Still
and
not?
I'm
Nothing?
thankful, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And from the police report, there were two cars behind him at the same intersection that saw me coming, and they said they don't know why he didn't.
Mm.
So if I can do math, and if I can envision this thing in my mind, so that's
Mhm.
there's three, one, two, three cars can see somebody coming down the street. Yeah, yeah. What were you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So I never wanted to know why he pulled out in front of me. I never wanted to, because I already know it had to do something with some kind of distraction,
Mhm.
and I don't want to know what the distraction was.
Yeah.
Because if you tell me you on your phone
Yep.
or anything. Honestly, anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a problem with you.
Yep.
And so it's just one of those. And I, like I said, I was life flighted to UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and
And
I'm sure
and
you're
so,
familiar with them. You
I am not, no.
UNC, that's where Bill Belichick is now.
Oh,
He's
shoot.
coaching
I
football
should have
there.
known that.
Yeah, he's coaching football there now. This will be his first season.
I had no idea he was going to college coaching. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Good for
well,
him.
so this is May. I think we got
Oh,
him back in either February or March.
oh,
February, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was February.
Look at him. All right. We'll see.
Yeah.
Can he do it without Tom Brady? That's the question.
So here's the thing, what's
Yeah.
crazy is his family has roots there.
Okay.
There are pictures of Bill Belichick as a little boy at
Yeah.
UNC football games
Oh, that's cool.
because his
So for him, it's
dad,
coming home. Yeah.
because his dad coached there.
That's so cool.
So now it's
Yeah.
his dad, now him, and his son is now the defensive coordinator.
Wow. Good for him. Good for him.
So lineage.
Yeah,
His I didn't know his
absolutely.
son was the
Like,
defensive coordinator at the University of Washington.
yeah.
That's where he just left from.
Oh, wow.
Hmm. So it's not like he's just randomly, doing some kind of what do they call it? Uh, I forget what it's
Internships
called.
or volunteerism.
No, the real term for when you're able to put your family members on kind of
Oh,
thing.
nepotism.
There you go, nepotism. It's not that. He
Okay.
literally did,
He
coach
earned it.
somewhere. Yes.
Yeah. Good for him. So how long before you wake up? And then what is that like?
So from May 5th, and which is the day of the accident, until June the 6th,
Oh,
I know nothing.
wow.
I lost a whole month of my life
Wow.
that I literally cannot get back. Now, I could go try looking for it at the hospital, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all they're gonna tell me is, yeah, you in surgery
Yep.
for that month. That's all
Yeah.
they're gonna tell me.
Yeah.
You were in surgery for that month. And when I tell you
They
from
kept you
head,
comfortably numb for sure.
yeah, listen, that was the
Yeah.
best sleep I got
Yep.
in so long.
Yeah.
I did not even realize that I was um in the hospital when I woke up. I just
Wow.
thought I was at home, waking up out of sleep. I said, man, I slept good last night. Like I must have had a good time last night. But uh
Wow.
literally from head all the way down to my right foot, I was cut somewhere.
Wow.
And from front to back. So
Dang.
the only things that were not cut on me were my arms. Now they might have some scars, like
Yeah.
like a road rash and stuff like that, but they're not. Nothing's been cut, thank God.
Yeah.
The worst part of my arms is my index finger on my left hand. It's got trigger finger. That's it.
Mm, okay.
That is it.
That's good. So you have at least full capabilities with your hands
I
and
take that back. I did get cut up here on my clavicle
okay.
because they use that area for skin grafting to recreate my eyelid on my
Oh,
right side.
okay.
That's it. As far as cutting though, they just needed some skin.
Yeah. And that was a good spot.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
So
So
that was a month that I do not have any recollection of. I listen. I'm glad I don't
yep.
because I don't want to know nothing about getting cut. I've been I've been operated on once while I was awake,
Hmm.
and that was my eyelid. They just numbed the area,
Yeah.
and it only took them like 15 minutes to do what they had to do and stitch me up.
Amazing.
15 total.
Yep.
That was with everything, the cutting, the putting the stuff in place, and the stitching. 15 minutes. And I was like, y'all done?
That's amazing.
I said the worst part of this was that anesthesia, local anesthetics.
Yep.
I was, have you ever seen the movie The Hulk? The
No.
Incredible Hulk when he's like it's that little skinny guy. I can't remember his name. but he was, they were trying to shock the Hulk or shock him and bring the Hulk out.
Uh-huh.
But he was laying on a bed and then he was holding on to that thing. They strapped him down and,
Yeah.
everything. But, and they put the little piece in his mouth so he wouldn't crush it, like crack his teeth or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's holding on to that bed and they shock him. He's like, "Grr, grr." And like that. When they
Yeah.
put that anesthetic in my eye,
Oh,
that's what it felt like.
oh,
And hear me, it's not once, not
oh,
twice, but three different spots around
oh.
my face. And it all felt the same every single time. Oh, those are the longest 45 seconds of my life.
Sounds
I am
like
not lying to
acid
you.
or something, just like burning.
Basically, it
Oh,
definitely burned. It
yeah,
definitely burned.
yeah.
It was the worst pain. So each shot was 15 seconds long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they get in there and they really make sure they deaden those nerves. Oh, that's the dental when I do that. I cannot stand those needles where they just
I
dig
can't
in
either.
there and oh,
I'm gonna
the
be
worst.
honest, I can't either, and I think it's because I have a metal plate in
Uh,
my head. Like I think it one of them helps form the roof of my mouth,
uh-huh.
if I'm not mistaken, because I do
Oh,
have like this weird little curve in my mouth.
yeah.
But when I say, hey, listen, when y'all go up, make sure y'all go the right way. 'Cause I don't need y'all pushing up against that metal because that's gonna just make you go upward.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh,
It's gonna stretch my gum versus you going into it.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't like it. Mm-mm.
Mm, mm,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
So
But
it's hard for
you're all
them to get
done
me
with the
there.
surgeries for now, right? Like you're good. You don't need to go in for anything else.
Uh, the only thing I had left is oral.
Okay.
They just won't get me. I'm sorry. Until I can't bite anymore or chew anymore on this left side, they won't get me in and back in there. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've
Yeah.
had too many. I've already had
You've had
three
enough
root.
for like 10 lifetimes.
Well, I've already had three root canals,
Oh,
two teeth pulled, two is it two? I think two cavities filled, and two bridges put in
oh,
from one accident.
yeah. And that's just your
From
mouth.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not even, and I just told you I'm not done.
Yeah.
Like that didn't complete everything. The
Yeah.
bottom side of my mouth is
Yeah.
still not done.
Mm,
That's just the top.
yep.
So y'all can see a nice smile.
You do have a nice smile.
That's the only reason. Is so you can have a nice smile.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's why I got that done because I was like, well, since I'm gonna be on stages, I got at least have some kind of a smile. I don't want no gap right there in the
Yeah.
front. Like I
Yeah.
literally like the front of my mouth is where one of my teeth was knocked loose.
Mm. So
So
it was like
not
Michael
your
Strahan, like, but bigger.
oh, that's so funny. so so you got the big tooth right here, but the
Yeah.
one right next to it, to the right of it, is the one that was knocked loose.
Mm.
So I have a bridge right there.
Yep.
So the big tooth and the canine are still there, but they're like nubs,
Mm-hmm.
and they stick that bridge on it
Yep.
because the one that was knocked out, they pulled that out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
They didn't want to get that infected. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I couldn't eat
Mm.
when that's how I actually found out it was loose because I was chewing. I was like, ow,
Oh my God.
because it was that loose.
Oh my gosh.
And when it's that loose, it moves to a really uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
No.
And adult teeth like that really are not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, it's worth it. Your smile is great.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah. Yeah. So what made you, and you said you were the master of pivot, which I love. Where, how, okay, so let me just go back to your process. Was there a point where, and I have a feeling just by the title of your book, where you said, why me, God? Why did this happen to me? I literally left church. Like, why did this happen to me? Was that a process you went through?
That is, I never asked that question. I was literally at church doing something. I didn't even ask that one. I
Oh,
did say I thought I was doing everything right. Why are you
yeah.
doing this to me?
Yeah.
Why did you choose me? Because I
Yeah.
believe with my belief system and believes in God that God chooses people that he tests. And I said, why did you choose me though? Like,
Mhm.
what is the point? Like, what are we doing here?
Mhm.
And once I finally stopped talking, he said, "You done?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll find out what's your response.
Yeah.
And then he said, well, why not you?
Mm.
I was like, God dang. Like he that
You're
when
like,
I
"Let me
tell
go
you,
pray on that. I'll get back to you."
you know what I thought of was, boy, you got a mean one liner. Because I really could not say anything.
Yeah.
I really had no response for that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, let me reveal some things to you. And I talk about it in my book. I play drums. As you can see behind me, there's a
I
set of
see him.
drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my babies. Those are
Yeah.
truly my babies. I've been playing since I was 7,
Wow.
and I'm 33 now. So um, the things he revealed, he was like, haven't you had people walk up to you after church and ask you why you close your eyes when you're playing drums? I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, I did get it. I do that sometimes. Yeah, I do. I do. He was like, you because I know you can do these things.
Mm.
And then he said, so, and that's one of the things that I do to serve him.
Mhm.
So that's really what matters to him. How can you serve me in your capacity? So that's one of them. And then he was like, you didn't need eyesight when you were navigating your apartment at night and you
Mm.
was, either just waking up out of a sleep or a slumber.
Mhm.
So you can navigate without sight throughout a house. And I was like, I'm
Damn it.
feeling defeated, but empowered at the same time.
Yep. Yep.
And then,
Ah,
and then
that's
he
tough
put the
love.
nail, he put the nail in the coffin.
Oh,
He said, and if I'm not mistaken, you're not the only blind person in the world.
mm.
God, I can't say nothing. I couldn't say a word.
No.
I said, you know what? You win, you win.
Heck yeah. Even, I'm thinking blind musicians, you got Ray Charles, you got Stevie Wonder. Yeah. You're not the first or the only, which is
Listen,
humbling.
man. I trust me, I love Stevie, but Ray, ooh wee.
Yeah.
Ray was a monster with that keyboard, that
Yeah.
piano. He is a
Yeah.
monster.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that movie. Don't now, of course, there's some bad parts in it, but what I'm getting at is they told the story,
Yeah.
how he lost his sight, when he lost his sight, what he did. His mama was right there watching,
Mm.
that kind of stuff. And I was like, man, this movie tells. I'm so glad I got to see it before I lost my sight.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, and because it makes me think, well, if he could do it,
Yep.
I find myself doing a lot of the things that he was doing in that movie. I'll be on the phone and hear somebody's background. Oh, you outside? They're like, how do you know that? I said, I can hear the bird that's out there with you. And they'd
Yeah.
be like, you know what? I didn't even hear that bird just a few seconds ago.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're like, how do you hear that? I said, hey man, it's just a thing.
It's your superpowers.
Yep.
It's your
I'm
super.
playing the keyboard now. I just
Yeah.
started learning that in the pandemic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Like
How's
I
that
told you
going for
that
you? You like it?
I love it. I
Oh,
love the melody.
yeah.
And there are certain keys that speak to me.
Hmm.
Like it literally is soul moving.
Yep. It's those
And
frequencies, that certain frequency, it just
yeah,
hits your
yeah.
heart. Yeah. I
My
love that.
music therapist, she knows it because she'll see the smile on my face.
Yeah.
Cause I'll be going through chord progressions and then I'll hit one and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'll stay right there. And she
Yeah.
was like, I guess you like that one. I said, uh-huh. Like I turn into like a little kid. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. No, it's so amazing, man. And
Oh,
then I'll just start randomly playing a song on the keyboard when I'm with her. And she's like, oh, what song is that? I said, one I just made up.
wow.
She's like, when did you make it up? I said, right now.
Yeah.
She's like, oh. You just made that up right now? I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's just what I do. Like,
amazing.
even with the drums, I'm the same way. I would just on the spot start making stuff up.
And are you able to recall that, like, going forward? Like, "I'm gonna record this," or is it just, like, one and done? Like, "Yeah, that was cool. I don't remember what it was, but it was awesome and it felt great."
With my creative mindset, I'm kind of like a, I think I remember what I did, but
Yeah.
you might want to record this.
Exactly.
And that's what she did. She said, "Oh, wait, I want to record it. Keep doing it." I said, "Okay."
Awesome.
And so I just kept playing,
Yeah,
and she recorded it, and it was really nice. The last thing I did with her. I mean, if
yeah.
you try to tell me to do it now, yeah, I probably wouldn't remember.
Mm. Music
But
therapy
yeah.
is beautiful. I love music therapy. I don't play instruments at all, but I
Mhm.
will purposely listen to music that makes me feel a certain way just as sort of like a therapy process.
Mhm. You know what I found because I've done group sessions with music therapy.
Mhm,
They'll bring out a bunch of the drums, like hand drums,
mhm.
and you can just literally just beat on the drum, and it'll
Yeah,
it'll bring a whole vibe out of you.
yeah.
You don't have to have any rhythm whatsoever. Just hit it.
I love that.
And we were going around the room. These are people from everywhere, all
Mhm.
around the nation in this circle. And it was probably like 20 of us.
Wow.
And that's not to include the instructors.
Mhm.
And so she was like, you know what was going to happen because they already knew who I was and they knew about me. She
Yeah.
said, Kijuan. I said, yeah. She said, lead us off in a beat. And she said, don't make it too complicated. I said, well, I'm glad you said that because you knew where I was going.
Yeah.
And so I just did something simple.
Yeah.
And then the next person started picking it up. And it went all the way around the room. And she was like, all right, somebody try to add a different style to it, and but keeping it close to the beat. And they were
Mm,
just doing, we were all just doing this.
yeah.
And it was so amazing to get people to just join in together doing that.
Yep.
And when we got done, listen, I didn't feel it at first, but when I got done, my hands were so sore because I get so in tune that I
Yeah,
can't feel it.
yeah. That's
Um,
good.
and and they
That's
were like,
good when you
"Woo,
lose
your
yourself
hands are,"
like that.
yeah, they
Yeah.
were like, "Woo, your hands are red." I said, "I bet they are because they hurt right now."
I was beating that drum.
Yeah, yeah. But it's so amazing, and I think that was like a hour long session or something.
Wow, yeah.
An hour long beating a drum. That's a long time.
It is. It is. We've used rock to recovery and different things in my rehab. And same thing, like here's people who've never even picked up an instrument. And by the end of it, they've created in 1 hour a whole song and they each have a part and different instruments. And it just pulls people out of their comfort zone and their shells and just gives them a different way to create. And if they can step outside of their own personal how I think and feel and look, if they get outside themselves and just enjoy it, it's amazing what you can see the transformations happen with people.
I got a question. I just heard
Yeah.
you say "rock to recovery." Is that like a canned term?
It's actually a group it's a nonprofit employed by a former rock star. He worked with Corn and he has musicians who are sober in communities and they will come into your place or your rehab or whatever. And for an hour a week or month or however often you want to do it, you will literally create an entire song, record it, and play it as part of therapy for
Does
whatever.
he
And this
does
one
he
is
do
specific
like
for recovery, but I mean,
yeah?
anybody could do it.
Does he do like guitar and the piano or something?
Well, all the different musicians that come in have instruments. They're well versed in all the different instruments because they're getting people who've never even picked up, like you said, a drum or
Hmm.
a triangle or whatever. And
You
so
know, I
they're
got you.
pretty well versed in all instruments. I don't think Wes Gear is the one who's does the Rock to Recovery. He wrote the book. It's his company. I don't think he personally goes in anymore, but he has people in all the different areas, former musicians that go in and do this stuff.
The reason I say that is because I think they work with the Air Force When the Warriors program.
I bet you're right on that. I've
That's
heard that
that's
down
that's
in
why I asked that question because I've
yeah.
heard Rock to Recovery before, but that's the only place I've heard it.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I for sure they're in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is awesome. I mean, anytime we can utilize music to help people in a way that they weren't able to be helped before, it's miraculous. What else do you do to fill your cup besides music?
Ooh, fill my cup. Um, I know one thing I need to do that I used to do, and
Meditate.
that's be near some water.
Oh, yep.
I'm a water person. I
Yep.
mean, they say my sign is a fire sign,
Mm.
but I think I need to be cooled off every now and then. I'm telling you.
Hey, there's yin and yang to everything.
Yeah, I need to be cooled off every now and then, okay?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I used to love when I was in the Air Force go to the beaches.
Yep.
We used to fly all over the place, Puerto Rico, Curacao.
Oh,
Um,
Kirsten's beautiful.
yes, it is. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Curacao, Hawaii,
Hmm.
Guam.
Wow.
I've been to Guam. The archipelago of the Azores. I'm not sure if you know where that's at.
I've not heard of that one.
I think it's off the coast of Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but these are, places I've been.
Amazing.
And, you know, I mean, going to North Carolina beach is not a problem either, but
Yeah.
I just love to get away.
Hmm.
And I mean, I like to experience culture. Like when I went to Curacao, I was there for 2 months because I was deployed.
Wow.
I was loving it.
Hmm.
If I had to go remote, I would go there
Yeah. It's so
because
cool. It's like the Dutch West Indies, right? Like it's
yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they're part of the Netherlands Antilles
Hmm.
and the native tongue there, Papiamento,
Wow.
and they speak Spanish as well, Dutch, and and I speak Spanish, so that's what I was speaking to them. I
Mm.
would speak Spanish,
Oh, nice.
and they were like, "Oh, okay." I say,
Yeah.
"Yeah, yeah." That's how I made friends
Yeah.
because they were like, "Oh Lord, here comes some American," stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
No, 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 don't do me like that. I want to be a part of you guys.
Yeah.
The only thing I dislike about Curacao is just because of my preference is their mascot is what I call it, the mascot. They have a lot of iguanas on that freaking island.
Oh.
There are so many iguanas on that
Yeah.
island. There was a dude walking around with three
Yeah.
iguanas.
Yeah.
Three. He had one on his head and one on each shoulder.
Yeah. They get big. Iguanas are
Yes,
big.
hit that one that was on his head. His tail was so long. I was like, is that a granddaddy iguana?
Probably.
Because I think I don't know how you learn the age, but I'm pretty sure it's by the stripes on their tail or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's got something to do with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that thing was long.
I myself am a huge animal fan, so I love that part about it.
Yeah. No, it was amazing though. Other than that, as long as you don't mess with them, you're fine.
Yeah. Right.
You could walk right past them. You wouldn't even know they were there because they're just sitting there so quietly and just still. They're
Yep.
watching you, but they're still. They're not
Yeah.
moving at all.
And they're also herbivores. Like they eat
Mm.
plants. They're not out there
Y-
eating, or maybe they
No,
eat
but
little
no,
lizards.
I'm just saying as far as an attack wise.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they
exactly.
do defend themselves.
Yeah, if they have to,
Mm,
absolutely.
mm.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like you need to get to a body of water and do some meditation by yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I need to do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate, and I talk about it all the time. I live about a mile to the beach and a mile to the forest, and I spend probably, well, for sure, at least an hour a day in one of those two places.
Where do
And
you live?
I do walking meditations. I live in Santa Cruz, on the other coast, way on the West Coast.
That I didn't even know that was possible to be a mile from each of those.
Yeah, Yeah, it's amazing. So Northern California, yeah. So I have the redwood forest in my backyard,
That's
nice and
yeah,
marked. Yep. And then a mile from there is the beach. I mean, it's not like Hawaii, but it's ocean, water, animals,
yeah,
sand. But it's amazing, like grounding, meditation. There's nothing else like it. And so we pay a lot to live here in California,
right.
but I figure if I get to enjoy that in my backyard every day, it's worth the price for sure.
Yeah. I tell you what, if it's do they have any resorts in that area?
They do.
Because
They do.
I
Did you want
might
to come out and speak?
listen, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, I'm trying to find somewhere, some places to go, and I just got well, this month is Military Appreciation Month,
Mm,
and the Armed Forces Vacation Club just sent out, an email to me that said
yeah.
they are offering vouchers for resorts, and it's only $250.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wow, it's right, and it's
Yeah.
7 nights.
Oh, man. Amazing. Yeah, you got to get on that.
Exactly. So I was like,
Yeah.
"What? Oh yeah, no, I'm getting that."
Yeah. Well, if you do come out here, yeah, Santa Cruz, Northern California, this is the place. Would love to have you. Would love to have you come up and speak with the clients. I mean, your story is so inspirational and motivational. And, even though in rehab people are there because of their own bad choices and decisions for the most part, it's good to get a kick in the ass and see what adversity they can overcome by witnessing somebody like you and your journey and what you've overcome.
I think we should make this a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Like I love to speak, so
Awesome.
and especially to stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think we should make that a real thing.
absolutely. We'll make it happen. We'll get you out
Yeah.
here on the West Coast and would
I,
love to have
I
you out
I've
here.
been to the West Coast, well, to California. I've been to the West
Mhm.
Coast, but it was in Washington.
Oh, that's not as
Not the
good as
same.
this.
Look, not the same. So that's why I
We're way
said
better than
well.
them. No.
Look, that's why I said well. But yeah, no, I've only been to California once. It was Northern California, but it was Travis Air Force Base. You familiar?
Where's that, April?
Travis Air Force Base. It's in Northern California in the
Oh, okay.
desert. It's in the desert.
Fairfield. Yeah. So that's more inland. I'm lucky. I'm right on the coast. So
Right. That's why I'm saying that's the only place I've been, and it
okay.
was only for 1 day.
Yeah. Okay. So you're missing a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot here you need to see.
Yeah, exactly. I do have
Awesome.
family in California though.
Well, there you go. If they're in northern, that yeah, you
They're
can
not.
almost skip
They're
that.
more southern.
Mm,
I, my cousin was in San Diego. I think she moved to LA though.
mhm.
And
Yeah, that
then because she's an actress, she was in that series Redwood.
mm,
I don't know if you know about that.
uh-uh.
Yeah, it's a series called Redwood. I believe they put it on YouTube TV. And she
Have to
was in
watch it.
that.
That's good
And
for
then
her. That's a
my
tough industry.
yeah, and then my her dad, mom, and younger sister, they live in Temecula.
Oh, there you go. I know where that is. Yeah, again,
Yeah,
that inland deserty part of California.
yeah. He was Navy. He's retired Navy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm seeing a trip to the West Coast in your future.
I think so.
Awesome.
As
Awesome. Well,
long as
we
the
would love to
invitation
have
is
you.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to have you here. You would be amazing for our clients. And then we could do a podcast like this in person. We
Yep.
wouldn't have to do it over Zoom. So I would absolutely love to have you out here. So yeah, let's check on those resorts. If any of them apply to around here, it sounds like a perfect trip.
Let's do it.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming on your show. Yeah, we barely scratched the surface of stuff that we could talk about. So I'm really hoping we do get a second part on this and would love to have you in person to do that second part.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you, Key. We are going to share all the places that our listeners can find you. Did you have any additional places that you could send them or they could get information or how to best way to get your book?
A great one-stop shop would be my website,
Okay,
amymotivation.com. That's AMEY motivation.com. You can find the book on there. You can also go on to Amazon and search Don't Focus on Why Me or Kindle or Apple Books or even Audible because I do have it in audio versions.
good.
So You could do that, or if you like to book me for a conference or a speaking event, whatever it might be, convention, you can
Yeah.
go on my website for that. And I also have videos of me speaking and playing the drums.
Heck yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Quick question though.
Go ahead.
Did you narrate your Audible?
I did not, but I did pick the guy who narrated.
Okay, good. All right, good.
I didn't just let some rando do it.
Good,
I
because
yeah.
I'm really I audible all the time, and I get kind of weird about who's speaking to me. So I'm glad you found someone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome,
How he did it. He almost sounded like me. I was like, "What the man?"
perfect.
It made me step back. I was like, "Oh, whoa, wait a minute, time out."
And then as you heard him saying your words, where you're like, "Damn, dude, I sound good."
Exactly.
Yeah,
I said, "Dang, I didn't know I could write that well."
good for you.
Look, I was like, I didn't do that well in English class, but it seems like I did.
Heck yeah. Good for you. Was it very cathartic for you writing the book?
So much, very much
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, getting that stuff out on paper,
Yeah.
and out of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. And to hear people recite it back to me like you were doing,
Yeah.
um, or any podcast for that matter that
Yeah.
I listen to or go and interview, they recite things back to me from my book, and I just start smiling. The
Yeah.
reason I smile is because it it affected them
Yep.
in a way that they remember.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about earlier in the podcast. I
Yeah.
wanted to make you feel some kind of way
Yeah.
because now you're living it through me. And so that was really what it was all about for me to even write that book.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, I love it.
Mm.
One of these days I'll get a book out there, but in the meantime I can't wait to read yours. But I am going to Audible it because I'm a huge Audible fan.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Go ahead. It's worth listening to. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, deal. I mean, I almost think maybe you need to send me an autographed edition so I could put it on my shelf over here and rep it.
I'll tell you what we do. If you can get me out there to Santa Cruz, you will get an autographed book, and I will hand deliver it.
Okay, deal.
Yeah,
Deal. Let's figure it out. I love it.
yeah.
Awesome, Key. Thank you so much for coming on our show, and let's figure this out. Would love to have you.
Let's do it.
All right. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
You do the same.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye bye.